Chapter 10. All right, I am now officially starting class,
Just scroll down.
and that's okay, Brad. You can go ahead and make adjustments as I just do beginning announcements.
Excellent.
This morning is Saturday, March 1st, a new month, 2025. Want to graciously welcome back Karen Meyer. She was with us for the first class in January. She'll be with us every other month. So it's March, and that'll continue on. And she is going through, did I have my book Somatics somewhere? There we go. And I've got the old cover, so there's the new cover. It's the same book. She's going to be going through the lessons at the back of the book, as we stated. Every other month, she'll progress through the lessons, but of course, she's changing vocabulary to update the vocabulary. She's adding her own refinements from her experiences. And as we discovered from her first class in January, it was fabulous. It was just absolutely wonderful. So, Karen, I think without further ado, I'm going to hand the class over to you, and I am going to unspotlight myself now. Let me see if I know how to do that. Remove spotlight. Okay, Karen, you are on.
Thank you very much, Susan. And thank you for your support in bringing this recalibration to everyone. And in today's session, we're going to be beginning sitting. And so you may like to have a stool or a chair ready in your practice area. In today's session, we're going to be starting sitting, and then you're going to be coming to standing, and then to walking, and then back to lying down. And from there, you are then going to bring yourself back up to standing and walking once more at the end. So it's good to have all of your other supporting materials that you've been gathering since lesson 1 as well. And it's always lovely to have a bolster and some extra blankets just in case you need them. So over the past 2 months, since our recalibration of lesson 1, there has been time for you to become familiar with the movements introduced to you in lesson 1. Enough to practice them with awareness and comfort. The emphasis in lesson 1, the first lesson, is on the extensor muscles in your back. In this class, lesson 2, in the basic sequence of 8 Hanna somatic movements, there will be more of an emphasis on the muscles of your front, your flexor muscles. And these muscle groups in the back and in your front act antagonistically. They counteract the effects of each other. That is, as the muscles in your front are contracting, those in your back are releasing, and vice versa. So in this recalibration of lesson 2 with me, Karen Meyer, I've given my attention to lesson 2 in Thomas Hanna's book, to my training at the Novato Institute, and from them extracted a certain essence that I feel is really important. And I'm giving you, and I'm guiding you through these movements in my second class from my own evolving experience of the quality of that essence And I'm inviting you to connect in some way with it. So let's begin sitting. And you are finding a comfortable height to sit down, with your main support being on your sitting bones, and you have support in your feet, and feel how you are placing your feet on the floor. Is all of the underside of your foot making contact with the floor? And for a moment, close your eyes as you are sitting. And you are feeling your uprightness. You are feeling where your weight is in your feet. And you are feeling where your weight is in your sitting bones. And the muscles of your front and the muscles of your back are keeping you in a dynamic equilibrium. You're feeling how your head is being carried by the rest of your spine. You are gaining an internal perspective of how you are sitting. Where are you feeling your weight? In your sitting bones and in your feet. Slowly open your eyes to see where you are looking on your horizon. Where are you looking with your gaze on your horizon? And you may like to find a visual, external reference place to keep your gaze as you are going into these movements. And as you are keeping your gaze on your horizon, very slowly, and you're not making much of a movement at all, you are bringing your chin ever so slightly away from your breastbone. And then slowly let that come back. And go into that movement once more. You're very slowly bringing your chin ever so slightly away from your breastbone, and you're bringing your attention all the way down your back, from the top of the back of your neck, down your spine to your tailbone, and you may be feeling your tailbone coming behind you slightly. And then very slowly release out of that movement, feeling where your weight is in your sitting bones and in your feet. You have been exploring the backwards direction of movement in your spine. And let's go the other way. Very slowly and very gently, bring your chin ever so slightly in the direction of your breastbone. And all the while you are making these movements, you are looking on your horizon. and then slowly release out of that movement. And go into that movement once more, very slowly. You are bringing your chin ever so slightly in the direction of your breastbone. You may be feeling your weight transferring in your feet as they're making contact with the floor, and primarily in your sitting bones. You may be feeling that your pubic bone and your lower ribs are moving closer together. You are contracting in the muscles of your front, and then slowly release out of that. Bringing your attention to how you are feeling your weight on your sitting bones, in your feet, and where you are looking on your horizon. In these movements, you are gaining an internal sense of the balance you are experiencing in your front in relation to your back, as you are paying attention to where you are feeling your weight in your sitting bones and in your feet. And these movements are giving you an accurate reading from the supports you are sitting on. And at the same time, you are gathering information about yourself and how your internal perspective is being calibrated with your external visual experience. So let's bring those movements together. Begin by very slowly and gently bringing your chin slightly away from your breastbone. Feel where you are rolling in your pelvis, where you are feeling your weight on your sitting bones while you are looking on your horizon. And then slowly release out of that. You're now bringing your pubic bone and your lower ribs closer together. You are contracting your muscles of your front, and you are inviting the muscles in your back to reciprocally release. And slowly release out of that. You're bringing your chin slightly further away from your breastbone, and you're feeling how your tailbone may be moving behind you a little bit. You may be feeling more weight more in front of you in your sitting bones. Slowly release out of that. You are very slowly bringing your pubic bone and your lower ribs closer together as you are bringing your chin more in the direction of your breastbone. And you may like to exaggerate that a little bit more, only as far as is comfortable for you. Slowly release out of that, going in the other direction. You may be feeling that the air is coming into your lungs as you bring your chin ever so slightly further away from your breastbone. You're contracting those muscles in your back and releasing the muscles of your front, and then slowly release out of that. And you are attuning these movements. Is it perhaps easier for you to move in one direction relative to the other? And are you feeling your weight transferring more as you are bringing your weight more towards the back of your sitting bones? You're contracting in your front. The distance between your pubic bone and your lower ribs is getting smaller. Your chin is moving closer to your breastbone. This is a forwards direction of movement in your spine, and then slowly release out of that, finding your inhalation. You're making the movement smaller. You're bringing your weight more ahead of you in the front of your sitting bones. Your chin is moving away ever so slightly from your breastbone. You're contracting in your back. You may be feeling your tailbone moving behind you, and then slowly releasing out of that. You're rolling in your pelvis. You're making the movement smaller. You're making the movement slower. And while you are looking on your horizon, you may actually be feeling a slight rolling of your eyes in your eye sockets. And then slowly make it smaller and slower until you come to a place in that slightly flat, wider area of your sitting bones. And you may feel where your weight is more centrally in your sitting bones. Where are you looking on your horizon, and what are you feeling in your breathing? And as you are pausing here, close your eyes and very slowly go very slightly forwards. So you are transferring your weight more ahead of you in your sitting bones. You're bringing your chin ever so slightly further away from your breastbone. And through, feeling your weight coming through your sitting bones and perhaps through your feet, slightly. It's a micro movement. You're bringing your chin slightly closer to your breastbone, and you're feeling your weight rolling more behind you in your sitting bones, and then come back to center. You're feeling your uprightness. You're gaining an internal sense of your uprightness, your balance, where you are feeling your head on top of the rest of your spine. Feel the movement in your ribs and in your abdomen as you are breathing. And open your eyes and look onto your horizon. And has it changed in any way? Give yourself a few moments to feel that. Very slowly and gently, bring yourself to standing. And as you are standing, feel your uprightness, feel your stability, and feel your mobility in your spine. And where are you looking on your horizon as you are standing? Feel where your weight is in your feet. You are primarily being supported by your feet as you are standing. And trace your midline, your upright vertical axis from the top of the crown of your head down your spine to your tailbone. and from your tailbone down to the ground. And feel where your weight is either side of that central line. Slowly transfer your weight slightly more in the direction of the front pads of your feet and feel your weight coming through your toes. And very slowly release out of that. You're transferring your weight in your feet more in the direction towards the back of your heels. Slowly release out of that as you bring your weight more in the direction of the front pads of your feet. Bring your attention all the way down the back of your spine. Feel where your chin would like to go, and then slowly transferring your weight. You may like to exaggerate this movement a little bit more. You're bringing your weight more in the direction of the back of your heels. You may like to bend your knees, and as you are bringing your weight more towards the back of your heels, you may like to feel yourself curling in a little bit. You perhaps could be feeling this in your head and in your neck and in your shoulders. And all the while, you are looking on your horizon as you are making these movements, and you're making them smaller, and you're making them slower. And as your weight is transferring more in the direction of the back of your heels, this is the forwards direction of movement in your spine. Slowly release out of that. You're keeping your gaze on your horizon as you're transferring your weight ever so slightly towards the front of your feet, through your toes. You're experiencing the backward direction of movement in your spine, and then make the movement even smaller and slower until you come to a place where you are feeling most balance and most equilibrium. Your brain is primarily occupied with keeping you upright and keeping you in balance. And let's go walking. And as you are taking each step forward, feel your lightness, feel your balance. Walking is giving you a feel for how you are becoming more upright. Walking is involving every part of you together in a coordinated, fluid whole. Your very center, your upper and lower trunk areas, your spine, and into your hip joints are coordinating the movement in your arms, your legs, and in your feet, mostly under automatic conscious control by the cerebellum, which is at the base of the back of your brain. And as you are walking, and as you are recalibrating these basic Hanna somatic movements, you are engaging the motor sensory cortex at the top, front, and center of your brain. And you will be bringing what was unconscious into your conscious awareness in how you are walking, by going into your movements slowly and voluntarily, and giving your full attention to what you are doing and how you are doing it. And as long as you go slowly, you're giving your cortex time to make new connections, to reorganize you, and to create comfortable patterns of movement. And slow your walking down, making it smaller. You may like to speed it up a little bit and try that. Feel the difference. And slow it down, gradually making it slower. And as you are walking, you may like to motor plan how you are going to come to lying down on the floor. You will be bringing yourself to lying down on your back, but you may like to have a support as you're coming down. And you may like to roll onto your side, first of all, as you come to lying down, and then onto your back. It's however you prefer today. And give yourself plenty of space and support. You may like to try different supports as you're coming to lying down. And it's nice to have some blankets underneath your head, your shoulders, and your pelvis, allowing your legs to be free to move along the floor. And it's lovely to have a bolster if you prefer coming to lying down on your back with your legs long. That's lovely. And you might prefer to rest the underside of your knees over a bolster. It's whatever you prefer, whatever feels comfortable for you today.
Karen, may I interrupt for just a moment? You may need to raise your voice up just a little bit, depending on what devices people are using. They don't have as much control over volume, and sometimes I'm having a hard time on my other device hearing.
Okay, Susan, is that sounding a little bit better?
It is. When you move away, though, you have to be careful.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Susan. Thank you very much. So, as you are coming to lying down and making yourself comfortable, this frees our brain of its normal major occupation of countering gravity and influencing and maintaining your uprightness and your balance. And it is affording opportunity for you for furthering self-awareness by increasing your sensitivity to even the most minuscule movement. As you are lying down, trace your midline from the top of the crown of your head down behind your neck, down your spine, and around from your tailbone through you to your pubic bone and up to your breastbone, the front of your neck, and the top of the front of your forehead. and feel whether there are any differences in where you are feeling your weight either side your central line. On the underside of your head, in your shoulder blades. How are your shoulder blades making contact with the floor on your left side and on your right side? How are you placing your arms and your hands? Is there any difference of weight on the left side of your pelvis and on the right side of your pelvis as it's making contact with the floor? And on the underside of the back of your heels, do you feel any difference between your left foot and your right foot? Perhaps you're feeling more weight on the inside edges, or possibly the outside edges of the back of your heels. Feel the movement of your breathing as you are lying down in your ribs and in your abdomen. Bring your attention to your waistline area, that lovely soft area between the upper border of your pelvis and the lower border in your ribs. And very slowly and very gently, your legs are long, or they may be resting over a bolster. Very slowly lift your waistline ever so slightly. You're rolling in your pelvis in the direction of your tailbone, and then very slowly release out of that movement and rest for a moment. And go into that movement once more. Very slowly lift your waistline. You may be feeling your weight shifting on the underside of your sacrum. Your sacrum is in between your left hip bone and your right hip bone at the very base of your spine. And you are contracting those muscles in your back. You may be feeling a slight arch in your lower back area as you're rolling towards your tailbone. Very slowly release out of your arch and continue on, lowering your waistline. Your pubic bone and your lower ribs are coming closer together. You're contracting in your front, and you are inviting the muscles in your back to reciprocally release. Slowly, you're finding your inhalation. And as you continue to inflate your belly, taking a lovely breath in, rolling in the direction of your tailbone, you're exploring that backwards direction of movement in your spine. Slowly release out of your arch. You're finding your exhalation. You are bringing your pubic bone and your lower ribs closer together. You may be feeling a retraction in your ribs, and you may be feeling where your weight is being transferred to on the underside of your pelvis, in your sacrum, or in your spine, or perhaps on the back of your head. Where else are you feeling this movement as you continue on very slowly, rolling in your pelvis, feeling the rhythm of your breathing as you very gently take a lovely breath in? You are rolling in the direction of your tailbone, slowly releasing out of that and bringing your waistline ever so slightly closer to the floor. And make the movement smaller and slower, completing the one that you're on, and slowly come to rest, feeling your internal sensations from those movements. You are exploring the forwards and backwards direction of movement in your spine whilst you are lying down. And you're paying attention to the subtle things. Let's add in to that movement the movements that we did in lesson 1, and you may like to motor plan the movement before you make it, at the same time as you're going to be lifting your waistline. You're going to be bringing the top of both of your feet away from your shin bones, and at the same time your toes are moving in the direction of your knees, and at the same time you will be bringing the tip of both of your shoulders behind you a little bit in the direction of the floor and in towards the base of the back of your neck. And you're going to be bringing your attention to where you are feeling your weight in your spine and on the back of your head, and where your chin would like to go. So very slowly go into that movement. Begin by very slowly lifting your waistline. You're rolling your pelvis in the direction of your tailbone, and at the same time bringing the tops of both of your feet away from your shin bones. Your toes are simultaneously moving in the direction of your knees. The tip of both of your shoulders are moving slightly behind you and in ever so gently, squeezing them in the direction of the base of the back of your neck. Feel where your chin would like to go and where your weight is on the back of your head, slowly, with infinite slowness. Feel what is releasing as you come out of that movement. You are releasing in your arms, your shoulders, in your ankles, your toes, and allow your feet and your legs to go to wherever they would like to go. And give yourself a few moments to feel the internal feedback from those movements. Feel the movement in your breathing. Feel where your weight is on either side of your midline. On the back of your head, your shoulder blades, your pelvis, and your feet. And we'll go into those movements in the other direction. And you may like to motor plan the movement before you make it. As you are very gently lowering your waistline, you're bringing your pubic bone and your lower ribs in the direction of each other. And at the same time, you're bringing the top of both of your feet in the direction of your shin bones, and you're curling your toes in on themselves while you are rolling your arms along the floor in towards your sides, and only if it's comfortable for you to perhaps lift your shoulders in the direction of each other. And you may like to bring your attention to what's happening in your head and in your chin, and slowly you will release out of that. So when you are ready, go into that movement, begin by very slowly and gently, you're contracting in your front, you're bringing your pubic bone and your lower ribs closer together. At the same time, you are bringing the top of both of your feet in the direction of your shin bones while you're curling your toes in. You're rolling your arms in at the same time. You're coordinating this movement. You may feel that you'd like to lift your shoulders in the direction of each other or not. And feel what's happening on the back of your head and where your chin would like to go. Slowly, using your voluntary control, release out of that movement with infinite slowness, allowing your arms, your legs, and your feet to go wherever they would like to go. And feel your internal sensations from those movements. Feel the movement in your breathing and how you are making contact with the floor. And we're going to explore that forwards and backwards direction of movement in your spine by raising your knees in the direction of the ceiling and standing your feet on the floor. And you may like to slide each foot in turn, keeping your heel in contact with the floor in the direction of your sitting bones. Stand each foot and raise each knee in the direction of the ceiling. And you may be feeling how your spine is making contact with the floor slightly differently as you do this. So your feet are standing on the floor. They're making contact with the floor, and feel how they are making contact with the floor so that your feet are approximately underneath your knees. And go into those same movements. Begin by very slowly and very gently. You're rolling in the direction of your tailbone. You're taking a lovely breath in. You're lifting your waistline and slowly release out of that movement and rest for a moment. And this time, go in the other direction. You are lowering your waistline. You are bringing your pubic bone and your lower ribs in the direction of each other. You may be feeling the air coming out of your lungs, and feel what's happening on the back of your head and where your chin would like to go. Slowly release out of that, continuing on, lifting your waistline. You are perhaps going into a slight arching in your back as you roll in the direction of your tailbone. And slowly release out of that. You're finding your exhalation. You're feeling where your weight would like to transfer to as you are bringing your waistline slightly closer to the floor. Feel that lengthening all the way up and down your spine. You are contracting in your front slowly. You're finding your inhalation, and as you are taking a lovely breath in, you're inflating your belly, you're lifting and lengthening your abdominal muscles as you are contracting those muscles in your back, feeling a slight arching as you're rolling in the direction of your tailbone. And as you are continuing with those movements in your own momentum, within the rhythm of your breathing, the next time you are ready to take a lovely breath in, to lift your waistline and rolling in the direction of your tailbone, bring your chin in the direction of your breastbone and leave your chin there, wherever it feels comfortable, closer to your breastbone, and continue with those movements. You're continuing that rolling in your pelvis. So you're bringing your waistline closer to the floor. You're feeling how the air is coming out of your lungs as you're bringing your pubic bone and your ribs closer together. You're releasing out of that. You're keeping your chin more in the direction of your breastbone as you continue with that movement once more. Slowly and comfortably rolling in your pelvis, making it soft, making it smooth, making it easy. And the next time you are ready to bring your waistline slightly closer to the floor, very slowly and gently, bring your chin away from your breastbone. You're bringing it away from your breastbone comfortably far, and leave your head in that position. You may be feeling the weight on the back of your head slightly differently. And while you're keeping your chin slightly further away from your breastbone, continue with that movement. Continue with that lovely rolling in your pelvis. You may be feeling this in other parts of you. You are exploring that forwards and backwards direction of movement lower down in your spine as you are keeping your chin slightly further away from your breastbone. And then the next time you are ready to release out of that, this time allow your chin and your head and your neck go wherever they would like to go, and go into those movements once or twice more and stop and rest, feeling your internal sensations from those movements. And these movements, in the movements that are following, if at any time you feel that perhaps one of the movements that I'm guiding you through, perhaps you may not like to do that, then, or it may not be comfortable for you in some way, you can always return back to those movements of rolling in your pelvis. And you may like to explore with where it feels comfortable for you in the positioning of where your chin is in relation to your breastbone. And so while you have been resting, you may have been resting with your legs long. And if you have been resting with your legs long, then bring both of your knees more in the direction of the ceiling and stand both of your feet on the floor once more and go into those same movements of rolling in your pelvis. And as you are doing this, you are going to be adding in some additional movements in your knees and in your arms as we go along. So you are rolling in your pelvis, you are lifting your waistline and rolling in the direction of your tailbone, very slowly releasing out of your arch and bringing your waistline slightly closer to the floor. You're contracting in your front, bringing your pubic bone and your lower ribs closer together. And you're feeling what's happening all the way up and down your spine. And where else you may be feeling this, perhaps in your shoulders, your arms, and in your hands and fingers. And the next time you are ready to bring your waistline closer to the floor, bring your knees in the direction of each other. And you may prefer to perhaps widen your feet apart a little bit as you're doing this, and continue on. You're bringing your knees together. If it's not comfortable to bring your knees so that they are touching, just bring them in the direction of each other as the air is coming out of your lungs. Slowly, as you are releasing out of that, you're finding your inhalation, you're bringing your knees slightly back to away from each other, wherever it feels comfortable for you, as you are rolling in the direction of your tailbone. Slowly release out of that, and this time add in a rolling of both of your arms in the direction of your sides. As you are bringing your knees in the direction of each other, you may be touching in your knees. You are rolling your arms in along the floor in the direction of your sides. And while you are keeping your arms long, you may need to bend your arms at the elbow a little bit as you cross over the front of your trunk, both of your arms. And then slowly unroll your arms, uncrossing your arms. They're coming back down onto the floor. They're rolling away from you, along the floor, away from your sides. And you're rolling your arms out, away from your sides as far as it's comfortable for you. As you're lifting your waistline, your knees are coming away from each other as you're rolling in the direction of your tailbone. And feel where your weight is on the back of your head and where your chin would like to go. So your arms are continually maintaining contact with the floor as you slowly release out of that and pause for a moment, feeling your internal sensations. And just allow your arms to go wherever they would like to go. And we'll continue with those movements and slowly go into those same movements. You're lifting your waistline and rolling in the direction of your tailbone, and slowly release out of that. You're bringing your waistline more in the direction of the floor. Your knees are coming in the direction of each other. And this time you may like to press your knees ever so gently as you're rolling your arms in the direction of your sides. They're rolling along the floor, and you're lifting your arms ever so slightly so that they're in contact with the front of your trunk. You're crossing your arms over each other, and you're feeling that curling in. So both of your arms are long. Your arms may be bent slightly at the elbow. You're also bringing your shoulders slightly in the direction of each other. You're feeling that closing in your front, more exaggerated. And then slowly uncrossing your arms as you're feeling the air coming into your lungs. You're rolling your arms along the floor away from your sides as you're rolling in the direction of your tailbone. Your knees are moving away from each other. You're feeling where your weight is on the back of your head, where your chin would like to go. And go into that movement of bringing your knees slightly together, pressing them together. You're rolling your arms. You're bringing them in front of your trunk. They're in contact with your trunk. You're crossing your arms over each other, and bring your shoulders up in the direction of your chin. Feel where your head would like to go slowly. You're releasing out of that. Your arms are rolling apart. They're uncrossing from your trunk. They're rolling along the floor, away from your sides, slowly. As you're lifting your waistline, the air is coming into your lungs. You're rolling in the direction of your tailbone. Your knees are moving slightly further away from each other. And we'll go into that movement one last time. You are using all of your voluntary control to coordinate this movement. At the same time as you are lowering your waistline, the air is coming out of your lungs, knees are pressing gently together. You're rolling your arms, keeping your arms long and crossing them in front of your trunk. You're bringing your shoulders up and in the direction of your chin. And you may this time, if it's comfortable for you, lift your head. Your chin is moving away more from your breastbone. And this is Thomas Hanna's red light. Slowly release out of that movement, using all your voluntary control to release slowly, infinitely slowly out of that movement, uncrossing your arms, rolling your arms away from your sides as you are inflating your belly, rolling in the direction of your tailbone. Your knees are coming away from each other and you're allowing your legs to go long and to rest. And feel your internal sensations from those movements. Feel how your shoulder blades, your arms, the underside of your pelvis, the back of your head, and the back of your heels are making contact with the floor. You have been exaggerating the forwards direction of movement in your spine. You are gaining further control of the muscles of your front so that you can release the muscles in your back. Feel the movement in your ribs and feel the movement in your abdomen as you are breathing. Feel the broadening and the widening. And you're now going to go into a brief reminder of that backwards direction of movement in your spine by rolling over onto your front. And if it's not comfortable for you to go on your front today, or you don't feel that you would like to go over onto your front, you can continue with those same movements of rolling in your pelvis and exploring the direction of movement of your chin in relation to your breastbone. And so if it feels comfortable for you to roll over onto your front, you may like to make a few adjustments. Your forehead is in contact with your support that is underneath you. And give yourself a few moments to feel with your hands either side of your head, with your palms down towards the floor, supporting you. And you may like to simply alight your head ever so slightly away from the floor, feeling those extensor muscles contracting as you very slightly and gently lift your head away from the floor. Your simply alighting your head. You may not even need to go into the lift. And then very slowly, with infinite slowness, giving all of your attention to the slowness of your descent as your head rests back down on the floor. And if that feels enough for you today, you may like to roll over onto your back once more. But if you would like to go into your back lift, you may like to begin turning your head to your left ever so gently. Your left arm is bent at the elbow with your hand placed comfortably near your head. Your right arm goes down your side. And begin by bringing your attention to your right leg. You're lengthening your right leg along the floor. It's maintaining contact with the floor. You're leading with your toes. You're traveling your right leg away from you along the floor, down the floor. And when your leg and your foot feels as though it would like to lift, allow it to lift. And at the same time, lift your left arm, your left elbow, your left hand, and your head as if you are going to be looking over your left shoulder. Your left ribs are coming away from the floor slightly, as is your right leg. Slowly, with all of your voluntary control, release out of that movement with infinite slowness, so that your head, your hand, your elbow, and your right leg and foot and your left ribs all come back to the floor at the same time. And you are feeling the release of those muscle groups in your back. And pause for a moment, feeling your internal sensations from those movements. Bring your hand back up in the direction of your head, your right hand, and supporting your head with your palms facing the floor. You may like to very slowly bring your chin slightly closer to and further away from your breastbone as you're turning your head. When your head comes to center, you may like to gently rotate, turning your head ever slightly to the left and to the right, and then moving your head to your right. Your right arm is bent at the elbow. Your right hand is near your head, wherever it feels comfortable. Your left arm comes down by your side, and you may like to make a few adjustments as you are turning to your right. And it may feel different in this way. Bring your attention to your left leg and your left foot. Leading with your left foot, you're traveling your left foot along the floor, away from you. When your left leg and your left foot feel like they would like to lift, at the same time, lift your right arm, elbow, and hand. And at the same time, you're lifting your head. You may like to bring the back of your right hand in contact with your left cheek as you slightly are looking over your right shoulder. You may be feeling your right ribs lifting, and at the same time, your left leg. And with infinite slowness, you're bringing all of your voluntary control and your coordination to release immensely slowly out of that movement, bringing your hand, your elbow, your arm and your head and your leg and your foot back to the ground simultaneously. And you may be feeling your right ribs coming back down to the ground, and stop and rest. You may have been feeling that release in your pelvis and in your waist area. And feel your internal sensations from those movements. And when you are ready, bring your left hand back up in the direction of your head and gently and slowly roll over onto your back. And as you are rolling over onto your back, leave your knees raised and your feet are standing on the floor, and bring your attention to your right foot and begin by very slowly. At the same time, it's as if you are going to be lifting your right foot. So you may like to motor plan this movement before you make it. So what you are going to be doing is you are going as if you are going to lift your right foot, and at the same time you're rolling your head to your right. And if it's not comfortable for you to bring your left hand behind your head, you may like to just bring your chin in the direction of your right collarbone. If it is comfortable for you to bring your left hand behind your head, then go into that movement, go by lifting your right foot away from the floor. You're bringing your right knee in the direction of your right ribs, and at the same time, your left elbow is moving in the direction of your right knee. You're lifting your head and you're bringing the right side of your pelvis in the direction of your left shoulder. Slowly release out of that movement. You're bringing your foot and your head back down to the floor at the same time, and swap over your arm. If you're bringing your hand behind your head, if it's comfortable for you, swap over, bringing your right hand behind your head. If it isn't comfortable for you, you can roll your head to your left. You can bring your chin in the direction of your left collarbone. At the same time, you are going as if you are going to lift your left foot, but you're not quite lifting it. And then slowly release out of that, letting your head come back to where it would like to go. And this time go into the full movement. You are at the same time as lifting your left foot, bringing your left knee in the direction of your left ribs. You are rolling in your head, and your right arm is behind your head, and you are lifting your head ever so slightly. Your right elbow is moving in the direction of your left knee, and slowly release out of that movement and rest. Allowing your legs to go long, and allow your arms to release softly by your sides. Feel your internal sensations from those movements. And as you are tracing your midline from the top of the crown of your head, down your spine to your tailbone, and around and through you from your pubic bone up to your breastbone and to the front of your neck and to the top of the front of your forehead. Feel whether you are feeling any differences either side of your midline and whether anything has changed. And bring this awareness with you as you roll over onto your side and bring yourself back upright and bring yourself to standing. And as you bring yourself back up to standing, feel your uprightness, feel your balance, and where you are looking on your horizon. Feel where your weight is in your feet. And go into walking. And as you are walking, you have been in this session, you have been exploring the forwards and the backwards direction of movement in your spine from an internal perspective, as you are feeling where and how you are placing your feet, and what's happening in the rest of you, in your arms, your shoulders, your pelvis, and where your head is in relation to the rest of your spine. And you've also been exploring from an external perspective. You are calibrating your internal awareness with external points of reference as you are looking on your horizon, as you are walking. Feel your lightness and your balance. You have been feeling the subtlety and the power of releasing the muscles in your back by gaining greater awareness and control in the muscles of your front. And with this awareness, walk into the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. I had to adjust the cameras a little and my head is a little like, woo. Thank you so very much. This brings this class to a close. You're welcome to stay for our very rich discussion. I'm just going to thank Karen one more time. I'm going to do our official goodbye for this month. We'll see Karen March, April, May, in May for the next lesson in the back of the Somatics book. I'm so looking forward to that as well. And I'm going to turn off the recording.